All right.
Let's get into that Rhapsody, man. I want both of you guys to talk about this one, because I enjoyed like reading what you guys were talking about it earlier this week. When we was kind of like talking about how we were going to navigate this conversation with Rhapsody, and I saw where AG, you actually said this was the album of the year so far, and
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Sean. My
you know what
fault.
I'm saying. And Coop, you kind of doubled back and said that you felt like she checked all the boxes on this album, and I wanted to get you guys to kind of talk through that, man, because I didn't listen to the album until I saw you guys make comments about it in our group chat. And I went back and listened to it yesterday morning on my flight. And I agree with everything you guys are saying in the chat, but I want to hear more if you can expound on why AG, why you felt that this was an album of the year already so far this year.
Uh, yeah, it was kind of ironic because me and Coop had that whole conversation in the last pod. He
Hmm.
was like, "What would you think is the album of the year?" And I really had to think about it because nothing really stuck out, as a standout album so far. But after
Hmm.
giving this Rhapsody album one listen, I was like thoroughly convinced like this is by far the best. And when I say by far, I really mean by far the best thing I've heard this year so far. Um, just overall, overarching, I think it's a really great thematic project. It's very conceptual.
Hmm.
What she's doing. It's like autobiographical, and she's really diving deep into the fabric of like who she is if you really pay attention to the songs. And we just got off of Mr. Morale and all that, but like to Coop's point though, this is an album that sticks the landing when you're really doing self-reflection and those type of tracks, you know what I mean, therapeutic type tracks. And
Hmm.
I just think it's stellar work. Some things that really stuck out to me was it's no Ninth Wonder on this album production wise. So on Eve, Ninth did at least half or a little bit more than half of the album, and I don't think Ninth had one track on this album. So that was something that stuck out. But all the beats are really good. Oh, go ahead, Coop.
I thought he had one. No, I'm about to look up right quick because I thought
Yeah,
he had
fact
one.
check fact check me on that. I didn't see him on the credits any, but fact check me on that. Um, but as far as like the themes of the album, first of all, I'm a huge Matrix fan, one of my favorite movies of all time. You come into the album with the intro and the interludes playing off of Neo's conversation with the Oracle. And,
Hmm.
she got Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Huxtable playing that role. So that was a nice touch.
Love that.
Asteroids, we had already heard before. That was a banger with Hit Boy. And, when she's doing metaphors, like her metaphors, like, they punch, they land. Her metaphors are
Mhm.
super dope. Flow's crazy. D&D with the for Do Not Disturb. It's not personal. That's the Monica flip. On just one of those days, she killed that song.
Mhm.
He shot me. The playoff of I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. I'm talking about injustices in the black community. Super dope song. Loose Rocks hit me right in the heart, man. Talking about her second mother figure
Mhm.
with dementia, and then the skit at the end where they're conversating, man. That when a song can get you feeling a certain kind of way, that's a different kind of level.
Look,
Um,
look, AG,
yo,
both of them, grandma and grandpa got dementia.
Yeah.
yeah,
She, yeah, she
my
pointed that out.
grandma just passed recently in March, and she had dementia, and it's appreciated, bro. And that really hit me, what I'm saying, in the feels on that one. Raw with Little Wayne. Little Wayne, he's the new feature king, man. Everything he touch, he blazes. Arguably almost as dope as J. Cole was doing for a while. And I read an article with Rhapsody, and she said she wrote her verse over, many times trying to compete with that Wayne verse. So that's dope. There's a couple more. 3 a.m. with Erica Badu. Listen, in hip hop, in the hip hop pantheon, we have a lot of records about relationships, right? That
Mhm.
is, I'm putting my stamp on it. That's one of the dopest records I've ever heard in regards to a relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? Just like describing the nuances and the things that make a relationship beautiful. 3
Which
a.m. is
Mhm.
one? Oh,
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
The
Three
joint
a.m.
with Erica Badu. It's an
No, no, I know what
exceptional
you're talking
record.
about. It's one of the
It's
best joints on the album. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's stellar. Back in My Bag is just a huge banger, and the last joint that I put as a noteworthy joint is Faith. That's another deep joint that'll get you in your
That's,
feels.
that
Um,
faith, yeah.
I really think, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna jump out the window and say it's a 5 mic album, man. Like I don't really see any flaws with this album, but what you got, Coop?
I think, much like you, that she just made the album of the year. I think this is the second time she has made album of the year because I believe Rhapsody's Eve was the best rap album that year as well.
Eve
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah,
These
2019,
last,
right?
her last two albums.
Yeah.
If Lupe makes these albums, if Kendrick makes these albums, if Nas makes these albums, with these concepts, these ideas, these appropriate reflections on mental health. And when I say appropriate, I am taking a shot at Mr. Morale because the dialogue and the conversation is not only appropriate, it's balanced, it's thoughtful, it's clear,
Mm-hmm.
but most of all, the songs are really fucking good. Because at the end of the day, the song needs to be good. These songs are good. These songs are really, really good. She hit the nail. She hit the hammer with the nail every time she stepped up the bat on this album.
Real quick, Coop. Sorry to cut you off, but she, to your point that you said about like if it was Nas or whoever that did this album, she spits that a couple of times on this album. Like if I had a you know what, then I'd be in GOAT conversations. It would be GOAT talk. So she realizes at the level that she's spitting at. She realizes it herself.
But what I was about to tell you, the only person, and I'm not joking when I say this, as far as mic performances this year that I've heard, I would tell you this is the best one.
Sure.
And the only other person, and the person that I would actually tell you is the only person that's competing with her lyrically that I've heard this year consistently is I Am God. That's why I'm so big on him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that joint was dope. That joint was dope.
Yeah.
I'm still playing it. I know it's dope.
Yeah.
Those are the two best actual bar seminars from beginning to end that I've heard all year.
No, you're right. You're right.
His shit ain't dropped yet. His shit dropping June 14th, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's going down. But
From
yeah,
what I heard, that's in contention. But we going with what's out that the public's heard so far.
right. We're going with what's heard so far. So of what's officially been released so far, yeah, this is album of the year.
I agree.
What part of Carolina is she from, Coop?
I forget, to be honest with you. I'd have to look it up again. It's been so
I
long.
saw it. She's like, I think close to the Pineville area, if I'm not mistaken.
That's fine.
I think that's the Durham. Isn't that the Durham hub? I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I can't. Snow Hill.
What are you
I'm sorry,
saying?
Snow Hill. She's from Snow Hill.
Snow Hill. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that area.
Snow Hill is like, man, it's hard to explain. I'm familiar with that area. I'm familiar with that entire area actually, but Snow Hill is like a small town in North Carolina. Like I want to say it's like the northeast portion of North Carolina, close to the Greenville area of North Carolina. Very small area.
But still, that's enough for you to claim his home team, Coop. I know you gotta be proud.
Well, if she's in the Greenville area, she's about 2-3 hours. She's probably about 2.5, 3 hours from Charlotte.
'Cause it's out there.
From
Yeah, it's
Charlotte
out there.
going like probably about 3 hours from Charlotte going northeast of here, northeast of Charlotte. So that like you'd be headed towards the coast, towards Wilmington, if you were headed towards Greenville.
Okay, I got you. Did you see Ninth on there when you looked at the?
No, Ninth wasn't on there. Now, AG, I don't know if I can give it a 5 because I don't know, and all the songs are good. I don't want to confuse what I'm saying. I don't know what one of these songs is going to stick just enough to put it over the hump to be in contention with the classic, because I do have a caveat about a classic. A lot of people have really made albums with like good songs from beginning to end that aren't considered classics. I consider Scarface to be a master at that because I think he only has 3 definite classics. but he doesn't have a bad album either because he consistently makes good songs.
Right.
But even though he consistently makes good songs and most of his albums contain material that you can play from beginning to end, not all of them are classics. If that was the case, every album Scarface made would be a classic.
Like it's straight B pluses or A, straight A's, but no A pluses.
Right. Like The Fix is something different. That's a classic. The Diary is something different. That's a classic. Like it's him being him, but the level and the quality of the songs, like The Diary has Never Seen a Man Die and Going Down and Mind Playing Tricks 94. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got stuff on there that people still bump. That's considered to be classics. Like Never Seen a Man Die is one of the best rap songs ever.
Yep.
So this album doesn't have that, is what I'm saying, but it's not missing anything other than that, in my opinion. There's no, like, think about this. The Infamous has Give Up the Goods, and it has Survival of the Fittest, and it has Shook Ones Part 2, and it has Eye for an Eye, and it has Temperatures Rising. Like, it's a lot when you say something is perfect, and I realize it. In order for something to really get a 5, it's like there need to be songs on there that like that really, really hold up. Like, let's go to KD2. It's like I gave KD2 a 5 because I'm like, no, like Store Run and Nobody's about to hold up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the songs are good from beginning to end, but it's got just enough joints on there where I'm like, no, some of these songs gonna hold.
Well, can I ask you a question? I'll do you one. I'll do you one better. Like you talk about Lupe or Kendrick putting out this album. If Lauren puts out this album, is it a runaway 5?
This is actually my thought about that. Like, first of all, Lauren's talent is so supreme that it allows her to do things that not even some of the greatest of men we have ever heard rap can do on the mic.
That's true.
She's like that. She's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, it ain't that she's the best female. It's that she's better than most of the fucking guys, too.
Better than a lot of the field. Yeah.
Yes.
And when I mean better than, I mean easily better than 90%. More like 95.
Yeah.
She's better than 90 to 95% of the male rappers that have ever lived if we just talking on some bar for bar shit.
Absolutely.
And so her putting together an album like this would mean something different about the lyrical dexterity of the album, but it's great enough that we do need to have a conversation about her, because other than Lauren and Lil' Kim, when I'm starting to look at Rapsody's catalog, when I'm starting to look at her style, when I'm looking at the amass of great songs that she's made between with these last 2 albums specifically, when I look at her contribution to the culture in terms of when she does do features, when I'm thinking about the content, it's like, well, shit, she over damn near everybody except for Lauren and Kim, maybe, which is why we probably need to have a conversation about where she is all time. Because also, too, I don't remember hearing an album by a woman in this hip hop space that was like really a contender for album of the year. And I feel like she already did it once. And I think it's going to be harder for her to do it again this time just because Com and PR are coming. Nas and Preem are coming. J. Cole better not have the second best rap album from an artist from North Carolina, or we going to have a motherfucking problem up in here.
Yeah, the fall off has a lot to do.
It has a lot to do just to become the best rap album to come out of the state of North Carolina this year now.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So it better be great. Kendrick is coming. Drake is probably coming because Kendrick is coming, or vice versa. I really don't give a damn at the end of the day.
Yeah, we kind of off that.
You know, there's a lot. There's a lot coming down the pipe, man.
What you got, Sean?
That may help and hurt at the same time. So look at like this.
It's gonna be a top 10 rap album this year, like worst case scenario, but
it's going to be
probably top 5.
It has to be.
But right now,
does the media allow that?
I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna say where this album is gonna land at the end of the day. You remember how great JID's album was last year? The Forever
Yes.
Story.
It was the fourth best album that year, in my opinion. I believe. No, actually, I think third or fourth. Yes.
But for as great as it
Yes,
was, do
third.
you feel like it was talked about enough?
I know I talked about it. I said if Nas didn't exist, it would have won Album of the Year.
Well, I mean, outside of yourself, because you know what I'm saying, you're gonna cover everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get what you're saying, but like, here's what Mom used to always tell me: you can't fix stupid, Armand.
Yeah.
So we can't fix stupid.
It's just unfortunate, you know, because I think this is going to be more of the same. Comparing it to the JID, I think this is a little bit better than the JID, but I think it'll be somewhat of the same outcome. A stellar album that nobody talks about enough.
That happens in hip hop oftentimes.
It does. It does.
It is
That's
part
what
of the risk that you take when you're in this game. But
And
I know what
plus,
I've heard with these last two albums.
and plus is very heavy conceptually, and sometimes that doesn't translate well in the commercial space. But
No lie, like how about this? This is why I bring up the guys that I bring up. Which one like this is better than Lupe's concept albums because the songs are better.
yes.
This is better than Mr. Morale because the songs are better. This is better than the Untitled album by Nas. Like I'm bringing up conceptual albums because the songs are better.
It is, and it's an album that women can really get behind, or dudes. Like I've had this album on repeat. I think this is an album for anybody.
I was playing it with my daughter when we were riding today. I was playing it with my daughter today. Like we rode to Rapsody today. Yeah.
It checks.
And I had the windows down. I had the windows down, sunroof back, like we bumping it.
Yeah. It checks everything.
We're rolling.
Not just a female rapper album, but just an album in general.
It's a great rap album. Yeah.
It's a great rap album. The beats are on point, lyrics are there, the concepts are there, hooks are there, everything, even the skits are there. Everything makes sense for this album. My only concern is it doesn't, and again, this goes back to the female MC that we're going to get into a little bit more. It doesn't fit the scheme as what we've been seeing for the past couple of years.
Damn shame.
I think she knows that because she made a lot of different innuendos in this album.
She sure did.
She even talked about pleasuring herself, but in a tasteful way.
Yeah.
Not in a way where it was so vulgar that you had to kind of like, whoa, what was that? Was that one? You know, she said it in a very tasteful way. She still expressed herself.
Right.
She in a very tasteful way.
Sean, she on one of the songs she talks about rubbing her ass against somebody's mother's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
so
she's nice with it though.
Right.
Like
the word play is crazy on here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, but she's nice with it when she do it. She get busy with it when she do it.
Yeah.
That's where it's different. Exactly. Like her talk game is different. Like her talk game
are crazy. Like she does everything on this album at a high level.
It's masterful. It's a master class of an album. It is.
But I like how you pointed out, Sean, how she's saying things to kind of, she knows where she addresses so many things on this album, like her sexuality or whatever, but she's saying that, hey, I can be sexy even though I'm a spitter, but she's addressing it in a way, like you said, Sean, that's very tasteful and in a creative manner and conceptually, where, you know, women is not ratchet or none of that, and women can listen to it, relate to it, and get behind it. So, you know, I just think it's a stellar album, man. I'd recommend anybody to listen to it at the end of the day.
Absolutely.